Have you ever wondered what truly lies beyond our everyday understanding of consciousness? Or maybe how ancient wisdom traditions might, intersect with cutting-edge neuroscience and offer a radical new path to well-being? Well, today we're taking a fascinating deep dive into a field that's doing just that, transpersonal psychology. We'll be exploring its core principles, some unique models, and practices that offer, well, a really profound way to understand ourselves and the world around us.
That's right. And this isn't just about accumulating facts for you. It's really about connecting the dots, revealing some surprising insights, and discovering how these ideas can offer a richer, more integrated understanding of human experience. We'll be drawing from a foundational presentation on this subject to extract the most important nuggets for you.
Okay, so we've hinted at this expansive field, but maybe for listeners new to it, what's the fundamental aim? What exactly does transpersonal psychology set out to do?
At its core, um, transpersonal psychology looks at an expanded view of human experience, one that reaches beyond the sort of conventional boundaries of the ego and self. It's actually a field so broad it touches on everything from our current mental health care systems to cutting-edge transpersonal neuroscience, the science of spirituality, and even deep dives into thanatology, that's the profound study of death and dying and after-death consciousness, right through to practical transpersonal modalities like, say, plant medicine. It's truly holistic.
Wow, okay. So it's designed to give us a much bigger picture of what it means to be human. Where does it even begin to organize all that complexity?
Well, at the very core of this approach, kind of tying everything together,
Mm.
are seven foundational principles, or you could call them stages of development, that weave through the entire approach.
Yeah.
But these aren't rigid steps,
Hmm.
they're more like deeply insightful pathways. First, we have imagination.
Imagination, okay.
Yeah, and this isn't just about daydreaming. It's the critical first spark that allows us to reframe reality,
Mm.
especially when life kind of knocks us off course. It
Yeah.
helps us see possibilities beyond our current pain.
So it's about actively shaping our perception. Yeah. Rather than just passively observing. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Then comes curiosity, which is described as meaning as an impulse. So this is imagination realized, like a driving force to explore how does that work.
Mm.
It pushes us forward into deeper understanding. Following that is creativity. This is where our inner experience gets expressed outwardly through art, movement, writing, cooking, gardening, whatever brings that rich inner life out into the world. The fourth principle, and this one is truly pivotal, is expanded states of consciousness.
Right.
This is foundational because it explores both the scientific and spiritual dimensions of consciousness,
Hmm.
focusing intensely on their benefits and how they can profoundly shift our perception of reality.
That feels like a really crucial turning point. We definitely need to dive deeper into what those states actually entail later on.
Oh, absolutely. We will. Following that, we have wisdom, which we see as intelligence becoming transpersonal. So this is about cultivating and applying knowledge, understanding what wisdom truly means in an integrated way.
Hmm.
Then comes spirituality, which here we define as living a sacred and symbolic life. Dr. Lisa Miller's research really highlights this. She shows um, decreased rates of depression, anxiety, even suicidality with a spiritual approach to life. And importantly, this is backed by scientific research, not just, anecdotes.
That's key, scientific backing.
Yes. And finally, the seventh principle is love. This is seen as the ground of our shared existence, but not in a sentimental way. It's more a deep connection and love for self, for others, and for the world around us, being deeply connected to our very existence.
And what's particularly striking about these stages is something you mentioned earlier
Mm.
about their nonlinear nature. How does that understanding, change our view of personal growth?
Right. The truly profound insight here is that personal growth isn't some ladder you just climb once and you're done. Life's traumas or profound grief can actually force a powerful reset, compelling us to revisit our foundational curiosity and imagination, to rebuild. You can imagine it as needing to sort of rewind to a state of raw consciousness, feeling destabilized, maybe lost.
Yeah.
But these setbacks aren't failures. They're actually unique opportunities for deeper, more integrated growth.
So that concept of expanded states of consciousness really is foundational then. You mentioned it involves an altered sense of self, time, perception. How exactly are these states accessed? And what's the difference in how they're experienced?
You're right, they involve often a dramatic shift in perception, leading to maybe heightened awareness, a feeling of non-duality or unity, or profound symbolic visions. Transpersonal psychology recognizes that these states can be accessed in two fundamentally different ways, spontaneously or intentionally.
Okay, let's start with the spontaneous one.
Yes. Spontaneous expanded states are, well, like the name suggests, unpredictable. Examples would be near-death experiences, NDEs, shared death experiences, mystical experiences, spontaneous kundalini awakenings, even trauma-induced altered states like profound grief. And we also include, unprepared or unintentional psychedelic journeys.
Okay.
Their key characteristic is that they often happen without preparation, leading to a feeling like a rupture in normal identity or reality, often very emotionally intense and lacking context.
Right, that sounds like it could be
The
difficult.
risks can be significant, yeah. They might trigger what are called spiritual emergencies if they're uncontained. They're easily misunderstood or even pathologized in clinical settings. And they can overwhelm the nervous system, leading to polyvagal dysregulation, that feeling of being stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, making it hard to process anything.
Wow.
However, the opportunities are immense. They can offer deep insight into self, death, the numinous, leading to rapid ego dissolution, soul awakening, and a kind of direct initiation into transpersonal awareness.
So, incredibly powerful, but potentially disorienting without some kind of map. What about the intentional pathway then? How do people deliberately cultivate these states? And what are the benefits of that more sort of structured
Yeah.
approach?
Intentional expanded states are deliberately cultivated through specific practices, rituals, or therapeutic interventions. Examples include transpersonal inquiry, which we'll explore shortly,
Hmm.
meditation, breath work, psychedelic-assisted therapy, hypnotherapy, active imagination, contemplative prayer, fasting, pilgrimage, ritual, lots of ways.
Okay.
These are purposefully entered into with intention and guidance, usually held in a structured or sacred container. This allows for safer pacing and, really importantly, dedicated space for integration afterwards.
Ah, integration. Yes.
They're more likely to be resourced by the body and psyche, often guided by archetypes, metaphors, facilitators. The benefits are significant. Greater potential for integration and embodiment because of the preparation and post-experience work. They can be repeated or adjusted over time, facilitate conscious ego-soul dialogue, and align with neurobiological safety through good facilitation.
So maybe gentler sometimes.
They might be gentler or subtler,
Yeah.
compared to some spontaneous states,
Mhm.
but they offer a controlled environment for profound discovery.
Okay, this raises a really important question for me. Once you've had these profound experiences, spontaneous or intentional, how do you make sense of them? What frameworks help us navigate this inner landscape and actually integrate the insights?
That's exactly where the transpersonal neurobiology framework comes in. It's designed as a practical, integrative map for guiding transformation. Think of it like a carefully designed system of models that grounds everything in research. It's not vague, it's actually very concrete.
Okay, a research-grounded map. I like that.
Yeah. And a core part of this framework is the mind-body-spirit connection. Let's break that down a bit. For the mind, we look at how our right and left hemispheres perceive reality differently. Now, while older ideas about left brain, right brain were maybe oversimplified,
Right, I remember those.
yeah, the current understanding is far more nuanced. The mind isn't just thought. It's more like a dance between logic and metaphor, control and connection, certainty and openness. What's truly fascinating, and this has come out of psychedelic research, is that while the corpus callosum, which connects the two hemispheres, usually allows only a small percentage of information flow, maybe 2%, during conscious expanded experiences, they've recorded an incredible heightened connection throughout both hemispheres.
Wow.
So the right hemisphere's symbolic and imaginal knowing is absolutely key to transpersonal insight. The mind becomes a bridge between inner image and outer meaning.
That's a profound shift in how we think about the mind. So it's not just rational thought, it's like a gateway to deeper, more integrated insight.
Precisely. Exactly. Next, for the body, we integrate Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory.
Polyvagal. Okay, heard of that.
Yeah. It explains how the nervous system governs our sense of safety, connection, and even our spiritual receptivity. The body is seen as a threshold. Basically, no spiritual or psychological growth can really take root if the body doesn't feel safe.
That makes intuitive sense.
Absolutely. So practitioners learn to recognize and regulate these nervous system states before attempting deeper work. The body's nervous system is considered the first spiritual language, and its states are like portals for soul work. Transpersonal practice doesn't override the body, it works directly with it.
Working with it, not against it. Got it.
And finally, spirit. We study spirit through four distinct spiritual states, drawing on incredible researchers like Lisa Miller and Andrew Newberg, and the field of neurotheology.
Neurotheology.
Yeah, it's essentially the study of the biological basis of spiritual experiences. This validates the biological reality of spiritual awareness without any, woo-woo language. It's grounded.
That's important.
Very. So these four states are emergent states, think awakening, expansion, joy, those profound breakthroughs. Fatigue, like overwhelm, loss, existential tiredness, when the soul feels heavy. Emergency crisis, disintegration, spiritual breakdown, when something fundamental shifts or breaks open. And narcissism, things like spiritual bypass, often rooted in a defended self or grandiosity, where spiritual insights might be used to avoid discomfort.
Okay, so this framework doesn't treat mind, body, spirit as vague concepts at all. They're scientifically grounded domains with distinct experiences. That's a powerful integration.
Indeed, it's grounded in research, offers specific modalities for working within each domain, and shows how their integration leads towards what we call transpersonal intelligence. And the framework also includes other elements like, transpersonal modalities, stages, realms, inquiry, metaphoric elicitation. It's all designed to offer a complete map.
That makes so much sense. So if this neurobiology framework is the map for understanding these experiences, then transpersonal intelligence, that must be the destination, or maybe the compass that guides us.
That's a great way to put it. Transpersonal intelligence, TQ, is indeed seen as a deeper, um, urgently needed developmental capacity that seems to be emerging now. We're all familiar with IQ, right? Ability to think, analyze. And EQ, emotional intelligence, managing emotions, relationships.
Sure.
You might even know about EQ, spiritual intelligence, compassion, higher purpose. But we believe something deeper is now emerging, something urgently needed for this world of complexity and transformation, TQ. And it's not like a static, fixed intelligence. It's a dynamic developmental capacity.
So what does this new form of intelligence, TQ, enable us to do? What makes it so crucial right now?
TQ enables several crucial abilities. First, it helps you make meaning from extraordinary experiences, the mystical, visionary, intuitive stuff, integrating them rather than dismissing them.
Okay.
It helps one stay centered during breakdown or breakthrough, with a grounded presence and inner orientation. It perceives symbolically and metaphorically, seeing inner patterns, soul guidance, archetypal truths in everyday life.
Seeing the deeper layers.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, it helps a person guide others in finding their own inner compass. It's about a profound integration of knowledge, experience, and wisdom that empowers both the individual and, those they interact with.
Right. So with this framework as our map and TQ as our compass, how do we actually do this work? What's a concrete example of a transpersonal practice that helps us navigate this inner landscape?
A really powerful concrete example is transpersonal inquiry, or TI. It's both a specific practice and a modality for engaging directly with the metaphoric and symbolic. It's designed to help you meet the self from within, rather than analyzing from the outside.
Meet the self from within. That sounds incredibly unique. How does it work? Are there specific steps?
Yes, TI uses a specific structure we call the 3 visits protocol. It's like a gradual unfolding of inner exploration. The first is the garden visit. This is an encounter with the unconscious through language and metaphor. The individual meets a symbolic figure, maybe a gardener, maybe something else, and begins an inner dialogue. It's about meeting a part of their inner world. The second visit is being alone in the garden. So the symbolic figure is absent now. Here, the participant connects with a somatic sense of what's happening in their body, learning to feel and move sensations. This lines with things like focusing and nonverbal intelligence, tapping into the body's wisdom.
Connecting with the body's knowing.
Okay. And the third, the mystical encounter. This is a deeper transitional opening. A new archetype might appear. The individual might enter a portal-like space, experience expanded awareness, or engage in symbolic death, rebirth, or union. Sometimes people call it a kind of death meditation. And people have incredibly profound responses to this third visit. Some students describe it as feeling like a psychedelic experience, even without substances.
Wow, that sounds incredibly powerful and really unlike typical therapy sessions. How does it compare to practices we might already know, like, say, meditation or hypnotherapy?
That's an excellent question, because while it shares some aims, TI is quite distinctive.
Hmm.
Okay, so TI versus meditation. Both aim to bring awareness to inner experience, right? But TI is dialogical. There's a back and forth, often guided, it's symbolic, and an exploration of consciousness through active engagement. Meditation is often solitary, silent, and more observational.
Okay, different approach.
Yeah. And as for TI versus hypnotherapy, TI is an open-ended symbolic dialogue grounded in conscious awareness. It trusts the psyche to reveal what's needed. Its power, you could say, lies in not knowing the exact outcome beforehand.
Right.
Hypnotherapy, in contrast, is often more goal-oriented. It uses suggestion and altered states towards a pre-identified therapeutic goal. They just serve different purposes.
Got it. So is TI a trance-like state then,
Yeah.
or something else entirely?
Yes, but it's really crucial to understand the kind of trance. The 3 visits induce what we call a reassociative relational and imaginal trance, meaning it helps you reconnect fragmented parts of yourself. It helps build inner relationships and work directly with your imagination. It's not dissociative, where you feel disconnected. It's the
Okay.
opposite.
That's a key distinction.
Yeah. It intentionally shifts your conscious state, reduces that left hemisphere dominance, the linear, literal thinking part, and increases right hemisphere activity, the part that deals with symbolism, embodied perception, relationship. This opens access to the imaginal field, inner figures, nonlinear time, archetypal content. So clients often experience things like absorption, altered perception, timelessness, or symbolic presence, all markers of a softly held, altered, porous, and symbolically charged trance state.
So it's not like being under hypnosis, but more like a focused inner journey where you're actively engaging with your own psyche. That sounds very much in line with Jungian active imagination.
It is indeed closely aligned with Jungian active imagination because of its depth, the symbolic process, the dialogic structure. However, we tend to present it as a modern, neurobiologically integrated evolution of that because it's intentionally woven with polyvagal safety principles, understanding of right brain processes, and that transpersonal depth. It expands the terrain to include somatic regulation, symbolic emergence, and mystical contact, all within a safe, practitioner-guided container.
Okay.
We also use a technique called metaphor elicitation, which is really integral to TI. Yeah. This is how we gently guide participants to explore and transform the metaphors that arise organically during the 3 visits. Recognizing that metaphor is a powerful language, primarily from our right hemisphere, that carries immense knowledge and wisdom.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a client says they feel stuck in quicksand. Metaphor elicitation helps the practitioner gently guide them to explore that very image. What does the quicksand feel like? What does it look like? What would it take to move? It acknowledges that the metaphor often holds deeper wisdom than just saying, I feel stuck.
That's fascinating. Tapping into the deeper wisdom conveyed by our own metaphors. So, to summarize TI for someone considering it, what are the core distinguishing features?
Okay, at its core, TI's direction is oriented not towards fixing a specific trauma, necessarily, but towards exploring a living, symbolic landscape that holds metaphor, mystery, and soul. The structure is gradual and co-creative. Each visit increases depth, from language in visit 1 to sensation in visit 2 to mystical presence or archetype in visit 3.
Right, that gradual deepening.
Yeah. And for agency, this is key. The participant has full control. They choose what to explore. Imagery, metaphors, thresholds, they arise organically. Nothing is forced or suggested in that way.
Empowering.
Exactly. And the ultimate goal is expansion, integration, and soul retrieval. It's really about making meaning rather than just removing pain. Think of it with that door analogy again. Rather than being told, here's a door, open it, participants discover a mystical gate themselves, feel drawn to it, and choose whether or not to step through. It's about empowering that inner knowing.
That's beautiful. So once these profound experiences happen through TI or any other transpersonal practice, how do we integrate them into our daily lives? How do we make sure these aha moments actually stick and translate into the lasting well-being?
Yes, integration. It's absolutely crucial. And the transpersonal neurobiology framework really helps weave these threads together. We use several practices. First, there's metaphor analysis and reflective synthesis. This is often a written exercise that helps participants make sense of the symbols and meanings that emerge during their experience.
Okay, reflecting on the symbols.
Then there's something called a microphenomenology interview. This clarifies very specific feelings and micro movements of the process. Think of it as a finely tuned conversation where we zoom right in on the subtlest shifts in your inner experience during the session, like a fleeting sensation, a tiny image that popped up. We unpack the hidden wisdom within those micro moments that often hold profound insights you might otherwise just miss. And finally, the mirror practice. This helps bring the learnings home. It allows the person to identify what they've learned and really meet themselves with this new information, truly embodying it in their daily life.
Meeting yourself with the new learning. Okay.
This whole process honors the right brain, symbolic, the midbrain, somatic, feeling, and the left brain, integration, meaning making. It forms a kind of full neurospiritual arc. And again, the emphasis isn't on fixing people. The deeper purpose is about helping them remember who they are, because the answers, the insights, they arise organically if you just give people the right opportunity and container.
Right. So who would truly benefit from this kind of deep dive into transpersonal psychology? What does this all mean for someone listening right now, maybe feeling a pull towards this expanded view of well-being?
Well, this work is incredibly useful for, say, therapists and coaches who feel ready to go deeper with their clients. Practitioners working in end-of-life care find it invaluable. Also, those working with altered states or spiritual emergence. People navigating those big, sometimes disruptive experiences. And honestly, seekers. People who feel that traditional psychology might be too narrow for the depth of their own experiences and questions.
That makes sense.
Ultimately, the overall vision is to bring practical consciousness, our everyday functioning and expanded consciousness together into integrated consciousness.
Yeah.
It works to restore fragmentation, to reawaken, and really to rehumanize these transpersonal ways of knowing. It reminds us that well-being isn't merely the absence of symptoms. It's more like a flourishing of the human capacity to live in awe and joy and wonder, to feel deeply and to ask those big questions, and having the freedom to actually do so.
What an incredible journey into the depths of transpersonal psychology. Just wow, we've really seen how it offers this comprehensive, scientifically backed, and deeply human framework for understanding consciousness and achieving, well, truly integrated well being.
Yeah, this deep dive, I hope, reveals that within each of us lies this incredible capacity for growth and self-discovery, often beyond what we might typically consider possible for ourselves. It really is about making meaning, not just removing pain.
So, thinking about that, what new doors or mystical gates, like you said, might open for you listening now if you began to explore the symbolic landscapes within your own consciousness?
Or maybe zooming out if we connect this to the bigger picture. What might it mean for society if we prioritized meaning-making and soul retrieval over simply fixing symptoms? That's a big question.
A very big question. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep asking those big questions and keep exploring the incredible depths of what it means to be human.